What's up, and welcome to Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition. This is not Divinity Original Sin 2. So, if you thought you were getting into that, not yet. But at one point in the future, I will do it. I like the aesthetic and visuals of this game more than I do of 2, but 2's got, multiple races that you can pick from, and it has the ability to change out your stats and spec and yada yada. Like, overall, it's the better game. I won't argue that. But I have so much charm for this game that I have almost 1,000 hours logged, and I will by the end of this. So, I have some mods, but I'm going to turn these off because this one apparently is new. Quality of life. Basically, it makes things easier for me. If what it says is true on the workshop, then I am very excited for what's going to happen. All right, so let's get started. Okay, cool. I'm going to pick the Explorer mode because I like story more than I do suffering in combat. So, this is a game that focuses on your two main characters, which you have to create. They do have the preset ones right here. If you don't know about Divinity Original Sin, this is not the first game of Divinity. There is older Divinities that came from the 90s. I believe Larian took over the reins during a Kickstarter and made Divinity Original Sin, which is the origin story for those games. The second Divinity Original Sin is set quite a few years later after this one. So you don't necessarily have to know this game to know that game. Honestly, there are little bits of lore between them, but not a lot. For to carry on into each story. So, I'm going to make some characters. I've done a lot of varieties of characters. I usually end up being the healer, especially when I play with friends. But I'm going to make my Scarecrow Archer Ranger type character from D&D in this. Except, instead of being fire, he'll have ice stuff. But, that's just the background of what the name's about. As you can see, there's not a lot of variety of portraits. I'll pick the orange hair just because it's on theme. There we go. So AI personality is if your character is not linked to a controller or a keyboard, then it'll just do what it does when responding to things. So loyal, knight, rascal, maniac, judge, priest, whatever. That's going to be me, so I'm not going to be too worried. But you know what? Let's go with loyal. So, voice, you can pick.
Careful now. That's a trap.
Look out! I see a trap nearby.
A whetstone wheel. Now what do I have that needs sharpening?
Hold. Our enemies have laid a trap.
What could that have...
I like the warrior voice. Okay. I don't remember this skin. But I'm effectively a ghosty man, so I'm going to pick white. Head, that's just like facial hair and whatnot. Actually, you know what? Instead of modeling him to look like that, I'm going to model him to like what his humanoid version looks like. I know this doesn't matter for anyone who doesn't know my characters and whatnot, but I'm just giving you backstory in case you do. They don't have my facial hair. Well, that's close. Okay. Yeah, we'll just go bald. And no matter what, I have to pick this hair because it is the best. Yeah, I'll take red. Why not? Underwear, you don't have a lot of choices. But look at this dapper lad. Okay, so that's just his appearance. Now it's time to pick who he is. So, you have definitely a variety of things. Battle Mage. These are all presets, mind you. You can change them up. Battle Mage, Cleric. Battle Mage is amplifies brute strength with powerful magic. Cleric heals allies or smashes skulls depending on the direction of the winds. So it's meant to be more like your Paladin, healer, and DPS at the same time, or tank. But honestly, it doesn't work too well. Enchanter. First turn title battle from afar, manipulating foes with powerful magic. What this basically is just crowd control. Fighter, straight up just beat some ass. Brutal warrior and an expert in close combat. Inquisitor is a little mix of things. A daring wand wielder risking life and limb to decimate evil head on. Knight, focusing on a two-handed build. Specialized in war tactics, knights are trained not only to fight, but to rally troops. Huzzah! Ranger, which was what I'll be picking. A marksman with a legendary knack for self-preservation. Rogue with a lot of skill and a little luck, this rogue sees the world as an open coffer. Shadowblade, a powerful assassin whose arsenal of both daggers and magic would terrify any enemy if they ever saw it coming. So, there are optimal builds for this game, but have fun. You know, don't cookie cutter everybody's like style, you know, just pick your own and have fun. That being said, I've played this game enough times. I am going to be going for a ranger build that I've seen before. It's been pretty fun. I want to make sure we can get through these fights and whatnot. Shadowblade is the other thing you're supposed to go for if you want to like decimate people, but we're not doing that. We're not doing grenades much, but we will be at some point. Wayfarer, a survivalist and a practitioner of magic. The Wayfarer is hard to hit and even harder to evade. So geomancy and archery are your main things you're using, which an intimidating presence whose bone-chilling powers terrify friend and foe alike. So you can summon up a spider companion right there, but also it's got witchcraft. Witchcraft's kind of a neutral skill line that kind of focuses on physical damage, even though it's magic. So it's pretty handy. And Wizard, a scholar of magic specialized in starting and ending battles with a flick of the wrist, exacting swift victory from a safe distance. Okay. So they, at the start, have pyromancy and geomancy. A pyromancer can light things ablaze and continuously do damage, whether it be on the floor or burning a target. Geomancy summons creatures a lot of the time, but it also drops heavy damage that leaves oil slicks, which slow people when they walk into it. However, mixed with fire, you can actually ignite the oil into a blaze. Hard to put out. People in it are scrambling to try and leave. Might not always work. Same with the Enchanter. Hydrofist is your healing class. They have all the healing spells, but they also have the chilling spells. And so if somebody is wet, namely with your spell Rain, it will cause them to take extra damage from lightning, but also if they get hit with cold damage, they will be frozen in place, which is very nice, I assure you. And thus, Enchanter is usually, you know, keeping things locked down on the board and making sure everybody's safe. Aerothurge, however, is the electric magic and wind magic that also has frozen abilities and is generally just really cool, but also good for abilities outside of combat, like teleportation. Throw an item or character up high and drop it down, dealing damage. Crushing damage in particular. So that can also be used to pull like a chest from behind an area that you can't reach. to where you are, or it can be used to, you know, throw somebody into the fire if you really want to, rearrange them, whatever you want. They also have tornado, which clears up environmental things on the ground. Pretty nice, but yeah. Also with spells, you can see what classification they're in. So Air Thurge, Hydro Fist. Now, here's something that you need to know. Good chance, if you're watching this, you're somebody who's very familiar with Divinity Original Sin 2. Because there's a great war on the RPG front, whether Baldur's Gate 3 or Divinity 2 is the best. Some people more favor Divinity because there's just a lot of variety you can do instead of being focused on a class necessarily. But I think being able to be a bard is something worthwhile. So I look forward to, when I can afford that game, being able to play that game. But that is not today. Anyway, you have a limit to the amount of spells you know. And I'm not saying it like how many you can have memorized like in Divinity 2. No, just you know. If you have 1 point into a skill tree, say Hydro Fist, for instance, you can learn up to 3 novice spells of Hydro Fist. You get another point in it, which costs 2 points to put into there. It incrementally increases. So if you want to get to level 2, it'll cost you 3 points in total. If you want to get to level 3, it's going to cost you 6 points in total, so on, so forth. But 2 points in a skill tree will give you the ability to have 5 novice skills. And if I'm not mistaken, that might be when you can start learning adept spells, which are the ones you'll be using more often. 3 gives you 3, 4 gives you 4, and 5 doesn't give you any more. You can learn at most 6 novice spells, 4 adept spells, and at level 4 of a skill tree, you can start learning master spells as long as you have the level to meet them, which is usually at minimum 12. But you can only learn at most 2 of those, and that would require you dropping 5 or going to level 5 to get into there. So it's asking a lot, but you know, for trees like Witchcraft or Man at Arms, it's worth it. So just keep that in mind. All right, so we'll have to make some tough choices. We only get to learn so many spells at the beginning. I am going to be that ranger, like I said. We're going to pick some skills. So range power stance, that one we're going to probably keep. Improve damage with bow and crossbow at cost of precision. Ricochet, fire a normal arrow that deals damage and then forks off to the next target up to 4 times with an 8 meters. And first aid, cures bleeding, crippled, and disease, heals target for 10%. That's not a lot. Nope, that's not what I... Okay, I've been playing a different game, so my buttons are a little confusing to me. All right, so when you click on one of those skills at the beginning, you can uncheck mark one of the starting spells and put it somewhere else. So I only know these are expert marksman stuff right now, but I can change that. You see, I can go to my attributes off the bat. And with some point distribution, we can learn other stuff. We're going to do this for right now. We're going to see what we have here. We have 1 in bow. We have 1 in expert marksman. And we have... I think this is from the mod I put on. Because, let me tell you something. It's hard to level or get the items that you want / the gear that you want. So I think that's what that was. All right. And SCD. So let me go through those real quick. So bow increases damage of bows that you do. Crossbow is different than a bow and increases the critical chance and critical damage you do with them. They do more damage base, but they also reduce your movement. So they're hard for me to justify. Dual wielding, one of the best skills in this game. Reduces damage penalty and total action points when wielding two weapons. So having two weapons reduces the damage of the other one that you have by 20%. And if you can put more points into it, it'll cost less to swing with those weapons. To the point where you can get a lot of attacks off in one turn. Now, that is different than single-handed, because single-handed weapons, while you're wielding two single-handed weapons, doesn't mean that's single-handed. So this doesn't count. It increases the damage when using a single-handed weapon, dagger, sword, axe, or mace. This damage bonus is not applied when dual-wielded. But what does work with dual-wielding is wand. Increases the damage of main hand wand attacks. So if you are that Shadow Blade that we were mentioning earlier, who uses wands instead of like daggers and whatnot, this is actually a good build. Me and my buddy Jordan, we figured out that dual wielding with wand is like the shit. Two-handed, naturally, increases crit chance of your two-handed weapons, which when you're playing melee, oh, you want that. Oh, sorry. Clicked the wrong button yet again. So defense, if you're playing a harder difficulty, I would recommend. But armor specialist improves your armor rating and decreases your heavy armor movement penalty. Heavy armor does have usually a cost to really wield it, but with this, it's a little bit better. Bodybuilding is your saving throw for physical ailments. So against knockdown, burning, frozen, bleeding, crippled, blinded, weak, diseased, infected, and drunk. Shield specialist. I know no one who uses this, but if you have shields and you want to be a tank, you go for it. My first playthrough, I played as a witch effectively and a tank paladin, and it was sword and board, but boy, it didn't work out too well. I still beat the game though. Willpower is your saving throw against mental stuff. Feared, muted, charmed, stunned, cursed, slowed, petrified, decaying touch, mark of death, remorse, and shackle of pain. Shackles of pain is pretty good as a spell. So skills, that's where you get your skill tree stuff from. And honestly, this is one of the games where investing 1 point in each of the, nearly everything of this that you could find something useful in is not a bad move. As long as you don't delve too deeply into one tree that isn't the one you're focusing on, you can get to where you want to. And still have points left over. But I clicked the wrong button again. So yeah, air surge, lightning magic, and wind. Extra marksman. Let you use your bow moves. Okay, yeah. So, all right. So level 2 is 5 novice, 2 adept. And then 3 is 3 adept, and then 6 novice, and then mastery after that point. Geomancer is the earth magic. Not a lot of nature-y stuff. It causes a lot of poison and just throwing rocks around. That's about it. And summoning creatures. Hydra Fist, healing and freezing. Man at Arms, that's your melee. If you're going melee, this is what you go for. In general. It's got so many good moves in it for you. If you're going more of a rogue, the game doesn't support you very well, but you could delve into Man at Arms a little bit. Pyrokinetic is your fire moves. It really just burns things, and it gives some buffs, but not too many. Scoundrel, that's your rogue moves. They're actually more handy than you think for everybody. For instance, you can turn invisible at level 1 of Scoundrel, And Witchcraft is your general debuffs and some summons and some extra special things once you get to level 3. Or level 4, I mean, for those. Personality. So, bartering increases the amount of gold you get when you sell things and you buy things for cheaper. You should definitely make yourself a character that focuses on chatting up merchants if you can. You ideally don't want to waste it on your main characters, but we'll see what goes down. I haven't played with this app yet, or this mod, so we'll see what happens. Charisma, okay. Charisma is not exactly what you think it is. What would you think charisma is? Oh, you have a better chance of talking to people, right? No, it's more points into rock, paper, scissors. Yeah. If you debate somebody on what the right thing to do is, you'll get the option to do rock, paper, scissors. You'll have to charm them, intimidate them, or reason with them. And depending on how high your charisma score is, you will get that many pips. And first to 10 wins. So you pick rock, paper, or scissors. You can tie. And if you win, you get as many points as your charisma is. If they win, they get as many as theirs are. It's tough. A lot of resets are done because you can miss out on a lot of XP if you don't do them correctly. We'll probably be doing that. Leadership is amazing. Will give boost to your party members and friends that can see you. It starts off with just initiative and damage. It can also go up to armor. It can also go up to saving throws. It can go off to even being unable to be feared if you're nearby. This is definitely used for Medora, who's a nice friend we'll meet later. Lucky Charm gives you extra crit chance effectively, and it also lets you randomly find items in the randomest of places. Like in a bookcase, you could find a sword. Craftsmanship is what I've spent most of the hours of this game doing, trying to buff up the people that play with me so they can have a good time. So I don't think I'll show you guys the grinding of that. I'll probably be doing that on weeks I can't record, but let's go through it. Blacksmithing is used to make weapons, just like swords, hammers, well, not hammers, axes, and whatnot. It also lets you put buffs onto said armor, or sorry, weapons, like tenebrium bars onto your weapons, which those are something we'll talk about later. Crafting is to make basically everything else. Clothing, crafting bombs, grenades, your food even, and arrows, which that's where I make a lot of my money. Same with potions, which also can be made through here. Lore Master, when you pick up an item, you don't know what it is, but once you look at it with Lore Master, you can figure it out. It also tells you, if you identify enemies, what their stats are, what they're weak to. Very handy. Good to have somebody on the team that can do that. Telekinesis is throwing items / moving items / picking up items without actually having to go and grab them. Now, if you are a veteran of this game, you'll know there's something called barrelmancy. Items have weight, and if you put a lot of heavy objects in a barrel, it will increase the weight of the barrel, and when an item falls on somebody, it hurts them. If you use barrelmancy, which is a lot of telekinesis and a barrel full of a lot of heavy shit, you can basically play chess. You can choose the barrel to go land next to somebody, and it will blow them up for the amount of weight that is in the barrel. We're not doing that, but I'm just letting you know that's what you can do. That works more like in town, not necessarily in combat. I click this again. And Nasty Deeds. These are your rogue-ish like abilities, which unfortunately the first two are going to come into play a lot. Lockpicking to pick doors and chests. Higher the lockpicking skill you have, the bigger doors you can get into. Same with chests. Pickpocketing. It lets you grab a certain value of gold worth items in someone's inventory if you're sneaking up behind them. You have to be in sneak mode and in their inventory. If they turn around and see you, they'll try to kill you. And also, worst off, if you peer through their inventory and you see an item that you want, you grab it, but you're still trying to grab other stuff. If they walk away and they leave your range, that is considered that character has already pickpocketed that guy. Which, in this game, a character can only pickpocket a character once. So let's say I go to the innkeeper, I pickpocket with my Osborne right here. Well, I grabbed one item, but oh, I wasn't paying attention and he walked away. Cool. Now I go back to try and pick him again. You can't pickpocket this guy because you've already done it. Now it's got to be Scarlet over here that's got to go over there and do it. Better hope that he doesn't leave again. So what you can do is also send one of your companions to go talk to somebody who you're pickpocketing. That way you can keep them in one place, rifle through their drawers, even if it's in their house. Doesn't have to be with pickpocketing with that part, but you can still pickpocket them. Anyway, that's that. It's how you make a lot of money if you want. Honestly, the biggest way you make money in this game besides the crafting is stealing paintings off walls. Sneaking lowers the vision cone that enemies have when they're trying to find you or walking around. So you can get away with a lot if you plan it carefully. Okay, we've done all that. I'm gonna take out one in Lore Master because I do like Lore Master, but it's not what I'm concerned with right now. We're gonna grab a point in Scoundrel. And while it would be good to have the bow, we're going to save that for later. We want spells right now. So let's go with Airthurge. All right. These are talents. They are how you get ahead in the game. There are a lot of variety, but not a lot of great ones. But there are definitely ones that you'll pick over others. This one I don't want right now, but what it does gives you a 33% chance to recover a special arrow after shooting it. I'll be crafting a lot of those later. Right now, we don't need this. Damn it. Bully. Boost non-magical attacks by 50% against opponents with slowed, crippled, or knocked down. So anyone with a status condition, you can mess them up pretty good. Avoid opportunities, gives the ability to evade attacks of opportunity. If you try to move away from somebody who's in your melee range, they can smack you. Backstabber, that's used for if you're being a rogue character, you can do more damage to somebody from behind. Courageous, grants you immunity to fear, but you can no longer flee from combat, which sometimes you really need, like in the Tenebrium mines, but we'll get there later. Elemental Affinity lowers the action points of cost of spells by 1 when standing in a surface of the same element. That's useful if you have, like, Hydra Fist, for instance. Because if you're standing in a puddle of rain, that's your element. Thus, you can heal a little bit more easily. That also works with oil and geomancy and fire, unfortunately, with pyrokinetics. Escapist. Flee combat even though enemies are next to you. Don't matter. Far Out Man is one of the best spells in this game. Increase the range of spells and scrolls by 2 meters, which even include the touch spells. So, you know, pretty good. 5-star Diner doubles the effects of food. That's good if you're tanking or a melee character. There is a item that you get early on in the game if you find it, called Ishmashel, who you'll want to wait till you have this until you eat it, because it'll double the effects of it, because it gives you a permanent effect. Know-it-all decreases everyone's attitude towards you by 20, but gives 1 extra point in intelligence. Yeah, says it all, doesn't it? But that's something that you do for, like, Jahan, a character that I don't like at all, but he is Hydra Fist and Arrow Third, so he was probably going on the team at some point. Leech heals you when you stand in blood. This can even be your blood. Incompatible Comeback Kid. We don't get that until later. Light Stepper gives you 2% or +2 perception bonus for detecting traps and secrets. It helps, especially if you're a ranger like me, which is probably what I'm going to pick. Lone Wolf basically makes it to where that guy can't have a companion, but they get buffed for doing so. I would do this because that is one of the few builds I have not played yet in this version of the game, but each companion has lore, so we're gonna go with that. All right, but yeah, that's all you need to know about that. My precious, every time you get hit or hit, your gear has a 50% chance of not losing durability. Pack mule doubles the amount of weight you can carry. I end up using that a lot because I craft and I run out of inventory space. Pet Pal. Okay, here's the thing. Pet Pal enables you to talk to animals. There are a lot of quests that could require the aid of an animal, or talking to an animal may help you avoid a trap or figure out a puzzle, something of the sort. And funny dialogue. Pet Pal is essential, I feel. And that's why the mod I picked is going to allow me to have Pet Pal if I don't pick it at the start, because it's that core to the game. So, fingers crossed if it works. It's only got 3 stars, this mod, but I'm putting faith in it. Pinpoint. With Pinpoint, your grenade throws will never miss. This is what you want to do if you're going to pick the Shadow Blade. You want to throw grenades like crazy. We're not, so don't worry. Politician gives you 2 bonus points of charisma, but you lose a point in intelligence. Says it all, doesn't it? Scientist gives you a bonus point in blacksmithing and 1 in crafting. So it helps you to be able to make your stuff early. Now, I don't know if this mod has a problem with that. I think I might have read something about it, but I'm going to wait till later to use it, so don't worry. Stench increases everyone's attitude towards you, but melee opponents will find you less attractive in combat. So you suck at talking in town, but if you're a ranger or a mage, you won't die as easily. Walk it off reduces the duration of statuses that have a bodybuilding saving throw by 1 turn. So physical stuff you get over it real quick. Water Rush increases your turn action points and maximum action points by 2 when your vitality is below 30%. You get better as you get weaker, but you know, that's a dangerous thing. Zombie lets you heal from poison, but causes damage from regular healing. Why would you do this? Well, if you're picking Geomancy, you cause poison, so that changes you from being a Hydra Fist healer to a Geomancy healer if you want to focus on that. But also, you can make infinite amount of poison potions to high strength as long as you have the empty potion bottles to do so. So it's one way of doing it, but unfortunately, there's a lot of drawbacks with it. So I don't pick it. In Divinity 2, you could be an undead, and this effect is already on you. All skilled up gives you an extra 2 ability points to spend. You can't go wrong with that. Anaconda, these are things we don't have to worry about until later. So I'm not even going to read them right now. I'm going to pick Light Stepper. Yeah, that seems like a reasonable pairing. Okay, so I'm going to change Ricochet out. Because we can buy the skill books that we want. Fast Track is really fucking good. Everyone's like, change it out for Adrenaline later on, but I'm like, I get why you'd say that. I don't want it. All right. So what I want from Aothurge is teleportation. And what I want from... Oh yeah, this is not a real spell, but it's from the mod. Go anywhere. Jump up and get down. Jump around. It's supposed to be able to like throw your people around so that you don't have to throw them physically with your teleportation spell and hurt them. Because if they get hurt, they'll be mad at you. And I'll take Walk in Shadows. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good to me. I don't have any attack spells except for the teleport, but, you know, that's fine. All right. Now let's make my companion. So, it's only right that I make it his wife from the campaign, Kaya. They have many children together. Need a black-haired option that looks good. That's... I don't know if she has... You know what? Just to be safe, let's pick this one. Yeah, I like that. Always got to be loyal.
Ah, a forge. The one place metal and bread are welcome in equal measure.
Okay.
Better to detonate that mine safely than trip over it myself.
There must be a way to spring this trap safely.
Wizard sounds good. All right. You are also very white, so I'll pick that. Now, her head options also give a tiara or a circlet. Those are some weird tattoos you can barely see. Oh, but then again, she is really white. That's why. Her eyebrows look thick. Oh. You know what? She's goth. I do love that hair. You can change these things later on. But right now it's not necessary. I don't remember a Leia haircut. You know what? Let's pick this one, but let's turn it jet black. Hey, stop looking at my chick. All right. She'd more likely wear red. Okay. Now, what am I going to make my dearest? Well, I think a witch seems fitting, but instead of geomancy, we're going to go with... Yeah, those are fine. We're going to go with Aether. No. Hydro. That's nice. Hydro. Personality. 1 point in charisma. I don't think I did that. Got... Okay. Yeah, Hydro, Witchcraft, and... We can always use a little bit of Scoundrel, huh? Never mind. Hydro, Aetherge. Pet Pal. Supposedly, I'm supposed to have it. So hold on 1 second. Let me check something real quick. Okay. Yeah, we do want to take this off because we can fix it. And also, I'm going to take off Walk It Off because no. Elemental Affinity seems like probably a good idea for that one. And far out, man. Okay, what do we know right at the second? Oath of Desecration, a Vampiric Touch. Malediction is also pretty good. Okay. We're gonna take off Vampiric Touch. We're gonna give Teleportation. No. Rain. Well, this does mean she wouldn't be able to hurt anybody. Not well. Okay. Yeah, we'll still do it, though. It's got a 5-turn cooldown, though. You know what? She's going to be providing backup. She'll make sure we're safe. Thus, it must be this way. I don't really want her to have the charisma. It would make sense, though, given her character. Fine. We'll do it for right now. Okay. Looking pretty good. Another reason why you pick the starting archetype at the bottom is to get the weapons. So otherwise, they would start with, whatever, If you based it off skill, then you would have probably a mismatched weapon for whatever you're trying to do if you're going to change them up. Anyway, so this has been episode 1 of Divinity Original Sin. We're about to get started on a great new adventure. Stay tuned. You won't be disappointed. Yes, it is a long game, but I appreciate having your company. All right. I've been Captain Zane. And this has been Osborne and Kaya. If you don't know where this game goes, it goes to some wild places. I have been Captain Zane, and I thank you so much for watching and for whatever support you can give. Always great spending time with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Farewell!